that you dare to dream really do come true. Someday I'll wish upon a star and wake up.
Hello, everyone.
Skies are blue.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Over the Rainbow Show with your host, Bob Brown. Well, my special guest today is Joshua Lewis. Joshua will share his research and discuss how he uses the combination of intuitive abilities and his latest technology, ITC, available to capture evidence of the afterlife and communicate with spirit. Can we please welcome Joshua to the show? Hello there.
Thank you, Bob. It's an honor to be here. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you loud and clear from
Excellent.
Houston.
Oh, nice. Very nice.
Yes. So when we talk about ITC, can you tell us what it's all about?
Well, yeah, I mean, ITC stands for Instrumental Transcommunication. It's something that has not, it's been around. It's not new. It's been around for a while. People like Thomas Edison were experimenting with creating apparatuses to communicate with the other side. Nikola Tesla. There are other kind of forefathers of the movement known as Frederick Jurgensen, Konstantin Radovow. And these are people that were experimenting with different radio frequencies, different boxes, different machines and devices to communicate with the other side. And one of the godfathers, I should say, of ITC is Frank Sumption. Frank is one of the first guys to create a radio spirit box. I have number 78 of his boxes on my shelf up there. You can kind of see it up above my in session sign. You could see it's just this little box above it, but it's very cool and it's a really amazing thing. So since then, there's been new developments. I've been doing this about 10 years, and I started off as kind of paranormal, a recorder in my hand, a little radio box in the cemeteries and the abandoned buildings and things like that. And I found that, excuse me, let me just cough for a second. I found that the evidence I was capturing, the responses were help me, the light, asking for light and things like that. And I found that I was not only really good at capturing responses, I was also getting better at my intuitive ability to be able to pick them up and to receive it myself, not just through the box. So now what I'm working on is really advanced stuff. It's advanced ITC. There are things that I'm doing that are really, I want to say revolutionary, very, very different than what normal ITC people are trying to do. And for that, I gain some praise sometimes, but I also get a lot of people that scoff at it or don't accept it. And that's part of the deal. I totally understand that,
Exactly. There's loads of people out there, Joshua, what say, why are you looking into that? Or why are you doing this? I say, why don't you just try and get involved with it? Come and have a look.
Well, and I find that a lot of people that are also doing this are very, well, some of the bigger channels or bigger people that are doing it, I find that they're very tight with their information. They don't really want to share it as much. They don't want to talk about it as much, or they want to tell you what. And I try to be different in the sense that I try to be as transparent as I can. I'll answer any skeptics' questions as long as they're respectful, of course.
Yeah.
I'll talk to them all day about it because I'm a skeptic too at times, and I'm very objective, and I do go further. I go further than most maybe with certain things, but I definitely understand the skepticism. So I'm always willing to talk about the process, and then I've created an app for free that people can try. And I use it in my videos, I use it in my sessions, and anyone can try this. And I'll even guide you how to use it. I'll even say sometimes send me a recording from the app. You can do that from the app. You can send a recording to me, and I could listen to it. And I respond many times to people and say, yeah, they said this, or yeah. So I'm always willing to kind of go down the rabbit hole with someone on it.
Well, that's great. But you do things like that. One of the questions we always ask is, what happens to us when we die, based on your research?
Well, religions will tell you one thing. And I think there's truth in all of the religions. I would say that on a scientific level, it feels like, based on all of the evidence that I've captured, that it depends on how you lived. If you lived very materialistic, didn't pay much attention to the spiritual side of life, didn't really question or seek a higher power like God, or whoever, there could be Jesus, Buddha, Krishna, Allah. Anyone could go and use any of those avatars, those Mahavatars, those enlightened beings to connect with. But there's a source, there's a source, the unmanifested divine father, mother, of this universe, and that energy is everywhere. But if people are not really focusing on those things and then they die, they're not in hell, they're not in, they don't just instantly get whisked to heaven because that's just the way the afterlife is. They're around here, they're not necessarily stuck. They may want to be around their family still, they may want to be around like a business they created. I mean, there's still a level of needing to let go of these things here in order to kind of ascend. And so you get a mixture of people saying, I'm okay, I'm fine, but I don't see the light, or I'm not seeing God yet, or whatever. So you get those kinds. You get people, you get souls that are, they are saying, I saw the light immediately. I'm in the light. I'm around my loved ones. I've had a divine experience. I've seen God. I walk with him. I've seen a castle. I mean, there's some really wonderful things and they say that they're helping us with light, their loved ones. They're bringing light from heaven down to us and things of that nature. So, you can kind of run the gamut as far as what you're hearing. But, yeah.
Like you said, there's some people don't want to go over yet.
Right. That is correct. I have
you
one.
Might have to, and you might have to open to go over, but some people just want to be where they are.
Right. So I have this one woman. I have I do group sessions. I do private sessions for people, readings and sessions, readings that don't have anything to do with boxes. They're just me using my intuitive ability. Then I do box sessions where I'm using my ability, but using the box as well. Right. But I also do group sessions, and on Patreon, I have, members that pay to be in the group, and each month for a modest, fee, I allow people to list a loved one's name and a couple of questions, and then I'll run a group session by myself or live with them sometimes, and I'll do it for like 2 hours, and I'll ask for like 20 people over the course of almost 2 hours. And so one wife, she lost her husband, and his name is Joe. And so I've been asking for him each month. And each month I get very powerful responses from him and a number of other loved ones. But from him, I get these really great responses. And she asked a question. She said, are you staying behind? Are you like waiting for me? Are you staying behind and not going up? And so I asked the question, and he says, I choose every day. And that was a very poignant response, because it sounds like, he has the ability to go up and ascend every day. It's almost like every morning when the sun rises in the spirit realm, the light is there for him. But he's saying, I'm choosing to stay behind right now. I want to go up with my wife. I want to wait for her. It's almost like he gets to go on the greatest vacation. He gets to go home. He gets to go stay at the best hotel that you could stay at, but he doesn't want to go there without his wife. And so he's not stuck. He's fine. He's still living in the home. He's kind of going about his his business, but he's not in some, I'm searching for the light. He's saying, I'm choosing every day to stay behind. He wants to go up with her. I think that's one of the most beautiful things there is,
Well, I suppose it is because she'll feel a lot better as well, getting that message back.
She did. She also said though, she's like, well, I felt bad. I want him to go up. And I'm going, no, it's fine. I mean, he's waiting there because he wants to wait for you. So just, that's okay. You know?
Exactly. Let's talk about your book,
Mm.
Finding Hope in the Afterlife.
Right. Yeah. Finding hope in the afterlife is, man, that's like my work, my life's work there. I feel like this is,
Looks
it's,
a good book.
yeah, it's not super thin. I mean, it's not like, War and Peace or nothing, but it's definitely,
Tell us a little bit about what's inside it.
sure, sure, sure. Yeah. The first few chapters are my story, and it's my life about how I got to this point. And so, I've had a really troubled past. I mean, it's been, I mean, I've really gone down a crazy path early on from age like 13 to 21, 23. I had a really rough time. I was addicted to drugs and alcohol, and I kind of burned all my bridges with my family and friends. I ended up committing a crime with a drug dealer that I was doing a drug deal. It went bad, and I ended up having to go to prison for a couple of years. And that was a really dark time in my life. I mean, that was about the worst bottom I could have ever had, other than dying. I mean, that was that. So I talk about that, and I talk about my spiritual experiences that I had before and during that time. And when I got out, I had nothing, no place to live, no job, no money, no car. And I got a little job, and I started working, and I just kind of, and I stayed, sober. I haven't had a drink for 18 years now. And so it's been an amazing, kind of climb back up to having some semblance of a normal life. And I made a lot of money in some businesses that I started, a few years out of prison. And when I did that, I kind of said, I really want to look at the spiritual. I'm really into the spiritual now side, and I want to keep looking.
Did you want to put something back into it then?
I'm sorry, I misunderstood your question, Bob.
Did you want to put something back into life again for all what you'd done in the past?
Yeah, I mean, it was like, so when I got out, I started working with young guys that were in trouble and that were headed kind of to prison, that were on that route. So I started working with young guys and taking them through the 12 steps of recovery, going to meetings with them and different things, doing those kinds of things. And by doing that, I found that I had this really innate ability to connect with someone, on a live level,
Yeah.
and really kind of get to the root of what's going on with them. And so there was a lot of really amazing work that was done. And then I made some really good money, and I really wanted to take some time off from working, kind of like a semi-retirement almost. And I started looking at, paranormal things. And so I realized that when doing that, what I was encountering was that there were people that were stuck also because of hangups with themselves that they had. And I found how the 12 steps could really help them with that. And so like I was applying something that had to do with kind of Alcoholics Anonymous, which is, for people that were addicted to booze, but I was applying it to life stuff, and it was working. It was working very well. So I started to notice that I had this amazing ability also that was coming about. And so I'm talking about that in the book. And so I get through that, and I talk about all of that. And then I go into my intuitive development as well as my ITC research and all the recordings and the things that I was capturing. Now, what's cool about this book is that it's not just a book that you're going to sit and read and that's it. Well, that's not how I did, that's not how I designed it. And I did it with the help of all of my guides. I did it with the help of Jesus Christ, with Paramahansa Yogananda, my guru. So I really, for me, it was a group effort. And so I can't take credit. It is my name on the book, but I can't take full credit. It really is all of these amazing guides that were helping in the divine. But what's cool about this is that as you're reading the book and you encounter a story that I talk about a session that I do, there's a footnote. And if you look down at the bottom of the page, there's going to be a corresponding number to a video. And there's a video playlist. It's called the book playlist, and it's on my YouTube channel. And so
Right.
you go and you find that number and you watch that video, and that video will show you what I just talked about in the book. So it's really cool. There's like, I think over 20 videos or something that go along with the book. There's pictures. I show some amazing examples of orb activity. StreamYard is reversed. It always messes me up.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Could see
but you
that.
can see some amazing orb activity in there, and so I show the difference between orbs. That's dust and water, and then of course actual real orb activity. I talk about water ITC. This looks like a picture. This is of water, but it looks like a picture of a child. I mean, it looks like a baby.
Yes,
You
it
see a
does.
baby's face. Here I'm using a voice recorder at the cemetery. As I'm talking about Jesus Christ, you can see this cross form in the clouds above me. I mean, that's in a video. That's not even like a still photo. That's a snapshot from a video. So there's some really wild things that I talk about in here. And so, yeah, it's an
I
amazing
think
book.
sometimes I think we all go through places like that. I used to go out and get drunk a lot. I just one of those people that like to go out and enjoy myself, but it got into an habit.
Oh, sure.
And then all of a sudden, I just woke up one day and I said to myself, what are you doing with your life?
I agree.
The state of you. And somebody had asked me before, a couple of days before, and said, where's the nearest preacher's church? I said, look, I'll take you. And then from that day after, I never touched a drink again. So it was meant for me to take this person to the Spiritualist Church and start helping people there as well.
Yeah, I agree.
And it changed my life around completely.
Yeah.
You
No.
get the debunkers saying, I don't believe in that. I say, well, I'll tell you what, next Saturday, I'll meet you outside church at 2:00, and I'll take you in. You sit at one side, I'll sit at the other side. When the medium's giving messages and they come to you, tell me what you think after. Anyway, they got a message, came out after. He went, can't believe that. How did he know what to say to me?
Right.
I say, well, what do you make of it now? They've said, well, it's just changed my life.
Yeah. I mean, you can have a really strong spiritual experience. I mean, I needed, I needed prison to really stop me in my tracks. And,
yes,
it was enough time to take me out of society for time out, but it wasn't too long that it would kind of destroy my life for the rest of my life and not let me kind of rejoin society and become what I am today. I mean, what I am today is someone I know that, jokes about themselves in the program. And they say, the only thing that's the same about me today is my social security number. And that's it, because I'm living like a second life at this point. I had a really powerful experience early on, right before I went to prison, a couple of years kind of prior to that. And it was an amazing experience that really changed my life. And I was even sharing about this in another interview and I talk about it in the book, but, I was really down and out. I was really at the bottom, of my addiction, and no one wanted anything to do with me. And
did you ask for help as well, consciously?
Well, consciously I did. And this was the first time that I actually did that. That's exactly what you're talking about, because that's exactly what I did. This was the first time that I was in my life at that time where, I was 19 years old, and I really wanted to stop doing what I was doing, but I couldn't. I had lost the ability to choose. I was powerless over the addiction. And so, for the first time, I wanted to be honest with myself about what I had done. I was being honest with God for the first time. I was really just kind of dumping my heart to him. And I had this feeling, this overwhelming feeling, that I needed to also confess my sins to a human being, to another person. a live person. And so it was like myself, God, and another human being. It was like I needed to kind of complete that trio. And so I was driving at 2 a.m. and I didn't know where to go. And I saw a church and I pulled into the church. And of course it was closed. The rectory was closed. I mean, where the priests sleep, and the church was closed, and everything was shut down, and there was no cars anywhere around. And I pulled into the parking lot and I got out, and there's this little grotto area where you can light the candles and you could kneel before the Blessed Mother and the baby Jesus. And so I lit a candle and I kneeled and I was crying, a very strong cry. And I was just asking him, all I kept saying was, Father, can I confess my sins? I want to confess my sins to someone. And I kept looking over, to the rectory. And a couple minutes after asking that, a little old lady walked into the grotto, and she was holding this little dog, and she lit a candle and she kneeled next to me. There was only 2 kneelers, and she kneeled next to me. And I just kind of wondered, who is this person at 2 a.m. other than myself that was there? And she put her hand on my shoulder and she said, "Would you like to confess your sins?" And that was unbelievable to me. I couldn't believe the first words that this person would say to me were these things. And I started crying even harder. And I said yes. And she pulled out this little black book. And like a priest, she kind of recited some things. And I said, bless me, for it's been this long and I need to confess my sins. And I went through the process. As I was raised Catholic, I'm really not Catholic in the sense now. I'm really just, I believe in Christ, and that's what I follow. And Paramahansa Yogananda. And, but and I went through it. I dumped my heart to her. I told her all the bad things, all the terrible things I had done. And she gave me a couple little penance prayers. And then she took this, she went to go over around her neck. She took this thing off her neck called a scapular. And it's something that we receive at our first Holy Communion. It's a little piece of fabric with a little cloth at the end with the picture of the Blessed Mother and the Sacred Heart. And she said, this was my father's and he wore it every day of his life. And on his deathbed, he gave it to me. And she goes, God wants you to have it. And I said, no, I can't accept anything like that. You've done too much already. She said, no, he really wants you to have it. And she made me take it. And then as quick as she was there, she got up and she bent the corner. And I waited a couple seconds and I got up and I looked around the corner and she was not there. And I tell that story not that because I don't think that she wasn't real. I think she was a real person.
Yeah.
I just think that God heard my prayer that night. God heard my plea, my petition to him. And he was able to pluck another one of his children that was receptive to him to unknowingly maybe walk down to the church and to ask his other child that was in pain at that moment, that, it was an extension of him to offer me, his help. And it was amazing because it showed me.
How did you feel at that time then, after she'd gone?
I'm sorry?
How did you feel in yourself then?
What I did feel was this unshakable faith that no matter what I was going to go through in my life, that if I earnestly and honestly, heartfelt prayed to this higher power, this power greater than myself, that they would hear me, that he could hear me and would actually respond in almost real time to my prayer in some way. Now, that doesn't mean that every time I pray that I get the immediate answer or this person shows up. But I know now that I have a faith that, and I have some rough days still, there's no question about it. And I still act like a little baby that is impatient and selfish and self-seeking, whatever. But I do have this faith that he will respond to me, that he is there, he is hearing me. And I share that with others because it's no different for anyone else. I'm no different. I'm no more special.
If you ask for help, Joshua, you will get help.
Yes.
There's always somebody around you who's there for you. All you do is ask.
You got to ask. And that shows a couple things. Asking shows a couple things. It shows willingness, which is a huge deal. Like you have to have willingness to get somewhere. Okay.
Yeah.
And then you have to have humility. It's showing humility, which is a big deal in this whole big thing. So we have to be humble on some level. And that doesn't mean to be humiliated. It means to be humble in the presence of our higher power. knowing that we are not it.
So that changed your life around.
Yeah, it did.
So what did you first do for yourself then?
Well, I mean, I still stumbled and fell after that. There's no question about it. And like I said, prison came after that. But it really in there when I was in there, and I talk about these experiences in the book that, I was in a cell in the middle of Miami in the Everglades. It was in the dead of summer. There's no air conditioning inside of these prisons, so you're really feeling the pain on this stuff, I mean, and it's a very small cell. And I was in there, and when they lock it at night, during the day they'll let you out into the main area and you can kind of go there, or you can go outside. Eventually they'll let you out. But for a good period at night, you're locked in and there's nothing you can do as far as that small cell that you're in. And you got this little window and a little bit of air coming through those dirty screens. And it's really like, with the bars. But I remember I woke up at around 3 in the morning. You can kind of see through the window in the day room with the clock. And I remember it was around 3 in the morning and I had the most excruciating migraine headache. Had to be from dehydration and being in the extreme heat.
Yeah.
But in addition to that, I felt that there was a negative, an evil presence in the cell with me. It was a very I wasn't even into paranormal then. I wasn't into anything then, so I had never even felt anything evil ever come near me or whatever. But this was a real feeling, like if there was a devil himself, that this might have been that presence. And I don't know, I knew again from that grotto experience at the church, which was there in my, I'd never forgotten that. And so I just started calling and praying out to Jesus Christ and calling his name and just reciting the name over and over again. And I could feel the headache. I could feel like this, at first it was just like, I couldn't stop moving. And I just had this, like, I couldn't get like the head. There was no position that I could be comfortable. And as I just started reciting his Jesus Christ's name and dealing with the heat, I just started to feel slowly this peace come over me and my body stopped moving. It just stopped. It just started to get still. And I started to feel like a pressure in my head being released. And, I could feel this peace wash over me. And again, I had no question, no doubt. I was in one of the most evil places that you could be in. I was in a cell in a prison amongst killers and rapists. And residual energy that just goes through these places. It's just constant evil. So there's no question that there's a very easy access to evil there. But there's God very present in there. And so that really, there were times that I was in there and there would be some big guy that wanted to beat my butt, man, and I would look at him and I would say, you can try to do whatever you want, man, but, I'm protected by the Lord. And, my body can be touched, but nothing can touch my soul. And I would say these words, and it was almost like the fist would come close to the face, but it wouldn't touch me. It wasn't someone went to punch me and then it would stop. But I'm saying that it was like this menacing presence of a physical, threat in front of me. And it was like, they would go, forget it. You're not worth it, and they'd walk away. And it was like, well, okay. There was something there that was protecting me. And I got out and I didn't forget that. And the one thing I knew that, they would say, like, the recidivism, the return to prison was like 90% a lot of times of these inmates. It was very 10% would actually stay out, and I was sure to be one of those 10% because I wasn't going to spend one day in there in vain. So, I really have, I think, used this time wisely since being out.
9 lives.
Yeah, I've really, I have a life that's second to none. I really cannot. I get to work from home. I'm around my beautiful children. I have, a wonderful, I guess, material life, even though I'm not rich. I have a very, I'm good. I get to do, in my mind, in my opinion, there are some amazing there's some really important jobs on this planet, and I would say one of them would be any job that people are in charge of protecting lives and saving lives. So I'm never going to compare myself to something like that. Okay. But I would say that what I get to do is one of the most privileged, honored things that I could do, that someone can do. And I feel very blessed for that, because I get to be a bridge to both sides of the
Gosh,
veil. And I take that very seriously, and I hear thank yous from both sides of the veil.
do you teach your children about life now?
Yeah, I mean, I don't push anything onto anyone, especially even my own children, because I've heard people that are adult children of like famous people or people that have done some really amazing things, and they're like, my father, my mother, they always pushed, or they always like they, and so I try to just, it's about attraction, not promotion, is kind of what I like to say. But I mean, they know, they see. I mean, my daughter's 11 now. I have two daughters, and my oldest is 11, and she's gone on to my YouTube channel, and she's watched a few of my sessions or my lives speaking. She's read the comments, and she's seen some of the really beautiful things that people have said about the work that's being done, and she's
Yeah.
noticing, and she's saying, so she knows that, that the big guy is up there ready to help her, and is always there for her, and she knows that, I can speak to these loved ones. I mean, I just had, when I got out of prison, I went to the shelter, and I picked out two kittens, that, they were very small, little 6-week-old kittens. These were when they're, older. But, in the pandemic, this guy passed away right in front of me, had a heart attack in front of me.
Oh,
And so, he became, he kind of picked up the slack of the love. And so, but recently he was sick, and I had to put him down. And that was a really tough decision, tough thing to do. That was just actually a few days ago. And, my daughters, they ask, they're upset, and they put up a little shrine to him and his pictures and some other things. And I was explaining to my 4-year-old, and she goes, "Well, when's he coming home from the doctor's, Dad?" And I go, "He's not going to be physically coming here again, but his spirit is here. I promise you that. And he will hear you. If you close your eyes," I tell her, "and you just envision and you picture, petting him the way that you used to come up to him and you put your lips on his head and you kiss him and you pet him. If you envision that, he will feel that. His spirit will feel that." And the way that I know that now is because of the sessions that I'm doing. I have my patrons or followers, subscribers, do these meditations, that I have these guided meditations that I direct. And so I'll send them the link and they'll do them. And in those meditations, they'll focus on their loved one sitting down next to them. They will picture, I guide them where they picture, I have them picture, handing them a rose that's filled with the love that they have. And
Yeah.
they take the rose, and, then I go and do a session, and I ask the loved one on the other side that just received the rose and did the whole part, meditation with the loved one here. And I asked them, and they said, "It's a beautiful flower. Thank you for the flower. I felt the hug. I felt this. I felt them there." So they confirm that what we envision as a memory, that we're creating new memories with our loved ones on the other side. Those loved ones on the other side are confirming that they feel that physically.
Yeah, there's a Stargazer in the chat room. She said, "I have many spirit kitties that come back to visit."
Sure. Absolutely. And they do. And they absolutely do. And with my app, as crazy as it seems, you can actually put on a voice, like a child's voice, and ask and envision speaking to your love, or to your animal. And I don't know fully how it works. I know Paramahansa Yogananda, my guru, talks about it. This is one of the most important books that anyone could ever read, by the way.
What they call the book?
This is the autobiography of a yogi.
Oh, yeah.
George Harrison would make sure he kept countless copies to give to people whenever he could, because of how important the book was. He would give this as a gift. Steve Jobs made sure to have 500 copies given out to everyone in attendance at his funeral. So this is a very, I mean, my work has proven, not that he needed my work to prove his writings, but what I'm saying is that I found his work after doing a lot of my work, and this confirmed all of the stuff that I was getting intuitively and through the box. But anyway, he talks about that, the soul, even in an animal, like a cat, dog, horse, ape, their next step is going to be a human body. And he talks about that whole process. And so when I connect with my app to someone's dog, someone's animal, I will get human sounding speech that sounds, and it sounds. Now, could that, do we know for sure it's them? No, we don't know for sure, but they give us messages of love saying, I miss you, I love you, I'm around you. And so it's really beautiful.
Yeah. Can you tell us about your free app, the Hope Spirit Box?
Yeah, the Hope Spirit Box.
About it.
Yeah, the Hope Spirit Box HSB1 is a free app that is for iOS and for
I can see that.
Yeah, and so you can get an instructional video, YouTube link, session link, book link.
I know I've got it.
All that crap. But down here at the bottom, you got, the tabs, and this is really always hard for me because of the StreamYard reversal. But anyway, yeah, I'm just showing you what it looks like, I guess. And so you can pick a bank. So if you want to speak to a certain loved one, let's say you want to speak, I used the example like the other night of like, let's say we want to talk to grandma. Spirit boxes are running off of either internet radio, regular radio, sometimes sound banks from an app. They'll have apps with sound banks.
Just frequencies. That's what it is, isn't it?
Well, it's sound. It's sound that a lot of times the radio boxes or the apps that people have created put in like forward speaking speech that the spirit has to kind of use those words or try to use the sound to kind of, form the response or whatever. The problem with that is that they create a lot of false positives. If you've got forward speaking speech coming from a radio broadcast, coming from internet radio or sound banks with words in them that are all, then you're going to get words that are going to come through that are not necessarily the spirit speaking. You're going to get false positives. And so I wanted to do away with that. So what I did was I came up with a method of taking speech and reversing it, human speech, reversing it, slowing it down to about 50% of the regular speed, and then chopping it up into 2-second increments. I mean, sometimes even smaller, and then rearranging everything randomly. So now you've got a voice track of human speech, but all reversed, slowed, and chopped speech. So it's all gibberish, no words. And that's what these banks are. These banks are, you choose a bank and you've got all these different middle-aged male, middle-aged female, male. Okay, you got all this. And so none of those have words in them. But let's say we want to speak to a woman. So we'll choose middle-aged female.
Right.
Wait, there we go. Okay.
There you go.
And then we're going to add some reverb. So it's already attached. The reverb is already on. And the reverb takes short sound waves and turns them into longer sound waves. It elongates the sound, creating an echo. And in those waves, that's where the spirit can manipulate that raw, gibberish, garbled sound and turn it into speech. And so the way the app works is you would hit record and you would then ask a question and you would say, hello, does anyone want to say anything? I'm not going to hit record right now, but I'm going to show you how long you're supposed to open the gate. So you got that sound. It's going in the background. You can't hear it. It's running. The garbled sound is in the background. We can't hear it because we chose our bank. But we're going to ask our question in silent or, without any sound coming from the box. So we hit record. We ask our question. And then we open this gate for literally 1 second almost. So you go.
Yes.
Oh, it didn't work. Okay, hold on. I'm gonna do it again because I had it open for too long. But that's it. That's what we do. We open that up for just
Again.
1 second. So, testing 1, 2, 3. And just a little bit of sound will come out. Then you stop recording. And then after that, if you either hear that in real time, you may get a real-time response, a yes, I'm here, hello, something simple. But if you don't hear it in real time, you can go to the recording tab and find your recording that you just recorded, and you can click on it and then hit play, and you can listen to it right away, right after.
Right.
So for instant review, because a lot of those responses, you got to go back and listen to hear. And that's it. And that's how it works. And so if the spirit's not using it, you're just going to get gibberish.
Yes.
But if they are using it, you're going to get something that, that you're going to hear. And then you only open it for that long because you don't want too much sound to come out, because then it's hard for you to understand. But if you keep it simple, 1 second, open, close, that amount of sound comes out, and it's perfect normally for them to use.
It sounds that as well, yeah. So, visual evidence
Oh, yeah.
captured.
Oh, yeah. The visual evidence is very serious stuff because, I don't know. So this is being broadcast in a way people will see this, right? This is not just a podcast,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Okay.
Live.
So if I wanted to show you something here, let me see something. I could share something with you, right? I could share like a video. I could show you a video, right? Do you know if I can do that or no? Because I did that the other night on StreamYard. I did it with someone else, and I would love to show you a clip of visual evidence. Yeah, let's see. I have a clip right here. So let's see. Okay. Present, share screen, Chrome tab, TikTok, share, and there we are. Can you see that?
No, because I might be able to find it somewhere.
You see below you, or below, there's a screen.
Oh, yeah.
If you click on that.
Wait a minute. Present, leave studio, present, settings.
Yeah, present is where is where it's done. Present.
Right.
So
share screen.
Yeah.
Well, share the screen.
Hold on. Yeah. Okay. So let's see. Save. No, that's fine. Okay. Yeah. There's a screen below you. There's a box next to me. You should see another box of mine. And if you clicked on that, that should pull it up for you. But,
yeah, because what I've got is, I clicked on that present thing and it says share screen, video file, or slides.
No, that's for you to share your screen. But if you see that, if you look, so there's no other box below, like in your thing, there's nothing showing.
No.
Okay, got it. All right, that's weird. I wonder. Okay, no problem. I was going to show you.
I'm still learning about this anyway.
No, that's fine. I just was working with this last night, and it worked really well. Where, hold on. I just will see if I can try it one more time. But anyway, here, I'm going to stop the screen. Okay. And then I'm going to go one more time. Let me see if this works for you. Share screen, Chrome tab. There you go. Share tab audio. Yep, that's right. So now you're not seeing anything I'm sharing, huh?
No, we would have to have another screen.
No problem. No problem. I'll just go ahead and stop that. Okay. Well, anyway, the visual evidence is pretty amazing, and you can see a lot of that visual evidence on my TikTok, which is, TikTok Hope Paranormal. Yeah. You could see it on my channel as well. But I'm able to capture amazing, beautiful orbs. Not to mention spirit photography. I do water ITC. I do digital ITC, where I'm capturing images of faces that are verifiable faces. So those are just really remarkable things. But I think some of the visual evidence that's really compelling and that people really respond well to, they understand it, it's very important is that as I'm going, I have a night vision camera that I'm able to record the energy that, that is moving about. It's not dust, it's not water vapor, it's not bugs. I don't have bugs flying out of my head in my room. And the way that these orbs move are very independent, very intelligent. So it's not like just a whoosh of dust or particles blowing by me.
You can
They're
see it.
they're dropping down, stopping and moving to the left. They're shooting straight up out of my head. They're doing all kinds of wonderful things. And what's happening is that as I'm doing a session, I'm calling in a name. You will see a little ball of light show up and then enter me or enter the computer or enter the box that I'm using.
Right.
I will ask them questions. I will capture responses that are audible. And then when I say I'm done, thank you so much for coming, you will see this ball of light leave me and leave the box or leave, and then I may ask for someone else and then a new one will come in. And this is happening every session that I do, that I set up the night vision camera. So that's, pretty, remarkable evidence showing on a visual level what's happening.
Yeah. I know we talked a little bit about fakes and frauds hurting anybody's work, aren't they? You see a lot on the internet, you think, that's fake.
Yeah, well, I don't blame people if they see my stuff and think it's fake, because there's some really remarkable things, but I will always go as far as I can to show everything that I can. I'll answer any questions. Nothing's off limits. Nothing is a behind the curtain kind of thing. It's like, I do these live things at my events. I do everything I do at my events live. I give you all the tools that I'm using to capture this stuff. I'm giving to you to use.
Yes.
So, that's really important as well. There's a lot of verifiable stuff. When I'm doing my sessions or my readings, I do not want you to tell me who we're contacting yet. I just want a name, a first name, maybe a first and last name. But while I'm on the phone with you and I sit there and I close my eyes and I connect and you give me a name, and I don't want you to tell me anything for the first 10 minutes. I give you what I'm getting, and that could be right. It could be wrong. It could be whatever. It doesn't matter. It's what I'm getting. It's a cold reading. Okay. And that's the way we do this. And then after 10, 15 minutes, I will stop and say, is anything that I'm getting accurate? Does it make sense to you? Can you confirm or deny this? And they will say yes or no to those things. Then they can ask me questions. And that's how I operate. But there are people out there on a psychic level that are full of crap. There are people that are doing these sessions online, on YouTube. There's a popular YouTuber that has about 340,000 people, and he's got the name ITC in his name, and he is a complete fraud. He's a complete fake. I won't say the name or nothing, but again, I've been open about it because I take it personally. I take it personally. I'm sorry, I probably shouldn't, but I mean, I care about what I do very much, and so. When I see someone that is cheapening this and defrauding people,
it makes other people plaster the same brush.
Absolutely. I'll go as far as to say, if you are anyone that fakes this kind of work to deceive people, then you are evil. I'm sorry. I don't know what else to say about it. This is a very delicate, touchy subject as far as what we're dealing with here, and so I would say that those people are evil. But anyway, and I tell this story that I've been to some different spiritualist churches, and I've seen some really wonderful people at these places, at some of these different churches that I've visited. So there's some really authentic and really amazing people that have been involved in these churches. I did find a church not far from me a few years, many years ago at this point, that I was referred to by a friend. And I went there, and there was a young guy that was the pastor. It was the minister. He was very good at what he did. He spoke well. He was knowledgeable, very knowledgeable about the occult and about intuitive ability and scripture as well. I mean, he was very, very knowledgeable about a lot of different things. And he gave his gallery readings, and he would do, some messages at the end of church and things like that, and people were blown away. And but and I went to him and I said, listen, I said, I'm working with this amazing woman, Deborah Lynn Katz, who is my teacher at the International School of Clairvoyance. She's guiding me and teaching me, and I would love to also work with you, maybe, and maybe you can teach me some of the things that that you're doing. And he said, yes, I would. I'd be okay to do that. And so I paid him privately, and I would meet with him a couple times a week. And on like the fourth or so time that we were meeting, and he always had such great knowledge. And we were sitting at the church at night, and it was kind of dark within one of the main rooms, and he was going to show me some more about physical mediumship, using the trumpet and the seance and the table and all that. He was like going to show me some of this stuff and trance channeling. And I was thinking some of it was a little weird for me. I don't know, it was a little bit off. It was a little different for me, but he said to me, he goes, Josh, I want to talk to you. And he goes, because I really trust you. I've come to trust you, and I really need to, share some things with you. He goes, you know how real I am and what I do. I'm sure you know that, but I want you to know that, at times I will have information on someone already, or I will look someone up and I will have information, and I will keep notes on people. And I said, what does that mean? I said, are you telling me that you're doing real work, but on top of it, you're kind of keeping an ace up the sleeve in case you need to throw a little extra jam into the sandwich? Is that what's going on? And he said, yes. He goes, we want to inspire people. We want to help people, but we also sometimes want to give them something that they cannot forget, that they will be completely blown away with. And I was enraged inside when I heard this. I really was. But I kept my composure, and I stood up and I said, Justin, I'm sorry that I really respected you. And I said, I really like you. But what you're doing is wrong, and I can't be a part of anything like that. I think what he felt was that he was starting to trust me, that he could bring me into the fold, because what he had told me was that he was taught this way by one of his elders at another church that was up in another state, and that he was kind of trained by him, And I was like, so this is like some kind of syndicate or something. I don't understand what's going on here. And I left, and I told him, I said, I'm going to tell a few of the parishioners that turned me on to you. I'm going to be honest with them. And I hope you find the Lord. I hope you find your way, man, because this is not it. And I left, and I was in the car, and I was driving, and I was so mad at God in that moment that he let me get to that. And as I was kind of almost cursing him out at the moment, I felt the calm words come into my mind. And he said, I needed you to see that. I needed you to experience that. And I needed you to make a choice for yourself.
Exactly.
And I made a choice, and I even put that story in my book. That story is in my book, and I talk about that. And that church has been closed down now and is no longer operational. I think the guy operates out of his home now, trying to kind of do some virtual things. So, it really didn't go well for him. But they're there. And so you kind of have to use the gift of discernment. And so I do feel very grateful that when people watch my sessions, I'm not the end all say all when it comes to ITC. I don't think I'm the chosen one. I don't act like I don't, I'm all, holier than thou. I'm a very much a human being. And I admit that I have my dark days, and I'm still fearful at times. I'm still angry. I still cuss. I'm selfish and self-seeking still. And I have to constantly turn that over to the big guy to help me. Like, the Father doeth the works.
You're still asking for help.
All the time.
For quite a while yet. But once you've got to go through this to learn from it.
Absolutely.
Once you've done that, it'd be fine.
Yeah, and I feel fine now that, I still get upset about the fakes and the frauds, but the fact is that, anyone that finds my channel, finds my work, reads my book, uses my app, I don't care what it is, goes to one of my events, you are going to get nothing but a straight shot from me. You're going to get nothing but the honest truth from me, and that's it. And that's all I can do. You know, and I love that. And people that follow me and watch my work, they know that as well.
Oh,
And
that's brilliant.
yeah, no, I mean, that's you know, it's
There
a
are
gift.
4 minutes left. So, what's next in regards for your research, and
Well,
where can people find you
yeah,
as well?
well, hopeparanormal.com, hopeparanormal.com. That's where you can find everything hope related. I've got a pro version of the app coming out for only desktop and laptop.
Oh,
Or
brilliant.
this is not even an app. This is a program, and it is. I mean, it is like a suite that's got multiple things within it that you will be able to do everything. You can upload your own banks that the program will turn into gibberish for you. You can review your sessions and caption videos and export them. I mean, there's so much you can do. So that's coming out by, I think, February 1st. Any update, you can subscribe to the mailing list on the website. I've got an event coming up in Savannah, Georgia, February 10th through the 12th. It's a 3-day event where I take everyone through the work that I do. So you can get tickets on my website that are still available. And yeah, I mean, you know, I'm posting sessions and doing private readings and sessions. So hopeparanormal.com, you can find everything there.
Do
You know?
you use Skype for readings or Zoom?
I use Zoom and I use Facebook Messenger if someone's out of the country. It's just a really nice, easy way to get a long distance call going, and you know, or over the phone, but phone and Zoom. Yeah,
Because you know there'll be people who are listening to this tonight, tomorrow, whenever. Because when it goes live on YouTube, you can find it anywhere.
yep,
For sure.
yep. I'm available. I just did a reading for someone in Australia. So I mean, you got a big time difference. They were in the future, and I was, you know, so I had to, you know, I mean, it's no problem. I can do
Like I
calls.
was in front sometimes.
Right. So that you know, I can do calls with anyone at any, you know, anywhere.
Oh, that's brilliant. Absolutely magic, that is. Yeah, it's been lovely having you on the show.
Thank you. It's an honor to always get the chance to talk to about you know the work and having someone like yourself that's interested and asking great
So,
questions.
you know, I know you're on about your next app, but there's a phone app as well, isn't there?
I'm sorry, the phone app. What?
There's a phone app people
Yeah,
can.
the phone app is available for free on iOS and Android. I thought I mentioned that. I'm sorry. Yes, definitely. The Hope Spirit Box app is available on iOS and Android for free. So it's been downloaded over 100,000 times, and it's a very serious tool for
I think I put
ITC.
it on my phone even.
100,001.
Well, there you go. There you go. I think it's brilliant.
Thank you, sir.
You know, so you've got loads of plans for the future.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I
And I
want to
think
keep
it's
sharing the
good
work.
to look for the future as well. Because
I
you've
am.
got a lot more in you to show people.
I feel I do. I feel I do. I look forward to keep sharing the work, you know.
And do more radio shows.
I enjoy these interviews very much because I get to really talk to people like yourself and I get to share about it. And you know, yeah, I never know what the questions are going to be, so it's great.
Well, I think it's better like that sometimes.
I agree. I agree.
And then because when you do quite a few radio shows, you know what to say anyway.
Yeah, but I mean, I mean, it seems that we start to kind of broach different aspects sometimes that I didn't even really talk about. So it's cool. I talk about a lot of the things that I do talk about, but then there's other things that come up that you know I didn't see coming. It's cool.
Well, thank you very much indeed.
Yep. Thank you.
Yeah, so thank you very much. Thank you to everybody in the chat room. It's been quite. There's Diane, Stargazer, Janice. I think there were somebody else in the chat room above. I don't want to miss everybody out. There's been Diane Sue is in the chat. Alex has been in the chat room. So there's been quite a few people in the chat room. And they always say, what a fantastic guest you've had on tonight. Again.
Thank you. That's great. Thank you. I love talking about it. So thank you.
Yeah. Thank you to Susan being the producer of the show. My guest next Wednesday is Daryl Sims. It's called The Alien Hunter.
Oh, that's cool. I got some alien
Really
stuff.
tall guy with a leather coat on and with a cowboy hat on.
Nice.
He talks about implants in people.
Oh, I don't have any information on that, but I've definitely captured some responses to the box and some other visual stuff that is of ET origin, I believe.
Yeah, so Daryl's on next Wednesday.
Very cool.
So it'll be 3 o'clock Eastern time as well. So a fascinating guest. I'd like to say good night and God bless. Have a lovely weekend, Joshua. And
Thank you. You
again
too.
for coming on the show.
Thank you, Bob.
Yeah, bye. Bye to everybody in chat room as well. Thank you. So go off. Okay.
And the dreams that you dare